That is one of those things that goes out on you sooner or later, and it has to be replaced. And you can either fix it or buy a new car. And I am in no mood to shop for a new car.
Right. Yeah, me and Eric, you and I have like the lowest of the low. We're like the dregs of society.
Yeah.
Our cars have like 2 different paint jobs, you know? And you know what I used to get pulled over for a lot?
Paint jobs?
A light out.
Well, yeah, they'll pull you over for that.
I think that...
You didn't know that?
Well, no, yeah, I do know it because I got pulled over 20
But you
times.
didn't know it before?
But, like, if you have I'm pretty sure the light companies, they make it so they go out in, like, 3 weeks.
Well, there's a lot of components to a lot of devices in our culture that supposedly contain units that are designed to go out after, so they can... And to be more expensive than they used to be, like seal beam headlights. It's called planned obsolescence. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another conspiracy theory that we might look into. I don't know how true that is. I've heard it.
It's probably true.
It's probably true to at least some extent.
So...
Cops.
Fucking cops. I hate them. We should defund all of them. So today we are doing conspiracies that... I was going to say we, but I think I should say I do not believe. Why are we doing this, Eric? Because I think that you think that I just believe everything I read on the internet. Everything I read. Oh, that's true. But it actually takes a lot of thought to believe a conspiracy. And it takes a certain amount of intelligence. And when I say that, what I mean is... A conspiracy theorist notices patterns, and they notice that, oh, this thing that's going on since 2020, we're very futuristic in the sense that we're like, where's this going to lead? You know? Concentration camps, who knows? But there's a lot of slimy, just no evidence-based crap. And you know that, Eric.
Well, just because you're a conspiracy nut doesn't mean there are no conspiracies out there.
Yes.
I know that.
It reminds me of that quote. Just because you're
paranoid doesn't mean they're out to get you. Not out to get you.
They're out to get me. I was at work. I started a new job recently. And
how's that going?
Not good.
Oh.
I'm the weird guy now.
What a surprise.
I used to be like cool and funny and charming. Now everybody's like, look at this weirdo. I don't know why, Eric. I think I'm a pretty sane individual.
Well, okay. Well, is it because of something that's peculiar to this place that you're working at? All of a sudden, different breed of people that you're working with?
A lot of liberals.
Liberals. Oh,
liberals.
Oh my God.
Well, here's the thing. I had to take a picture of the schedule because... You know, the last thing you want to forget at your job is when you have to go into work. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I got to take a picture of it. And I start peeling the black tape off of my camera. Because you know me, Eric, right? I cover every camera. Actually, when we finished this podcast, I immediately put electrical black tape over my camera. And some guy looked at me doing that, and he walked up and went, oh, you're one of those people. It's that I know too much about technology, the NSA, Edward Snowden. Do you believe in Edward Snowden?
That was so long ago, I can't even remember what that was about. And there have been so many scandals and embarrassments since then. I'm, you know.
Yeah. The NSA is listening to everything we do. Anyway, I don't want to get into that because... You know what the hardest part is of having this new podcast? Is that we have to censor our own speech, you know?
Well, you keep doing that. I'm a little unclear on why that's necessary, but I trust your...
Well, here's the thing is, today we're going to be talking about conspiracies we don't believe, and I'm even worried about that, you know? Let's just get it out of the way. What do you think is the number one conspiracy that I, 1, hate, 2, don't believe? I'll give you a hint.
Well,
orange skin.
What?
Orange skin.
Oh, I thought it was going to be about stalking, gang
But that's
stalking.
the second one. Yes.
Oh.
What do you think of gang stalking, Eric?
I think it's kind of a frivolous, as conspiracy theory goes. That one's kind of trivial.
You have to be a narcissist.
Exactly. All that it's these poor, sad little people leading these boring, meaningless little lives, and they think that if they're being stalked, or if they can make other people think they're being stalked, then that lends a little meaning to their lives that might not otherwise be there.
Yes.
That's pretty much the whole story with that, right?
You know what the scary part is, Eric? Is I have a tendency. I'm not gonna lie. I occasionally lose my mind, like every once in a while. I think I'm pretty sane. I'm pretty logical, but every once in a while, I get very paranoid and I start to believe. You know,
I never noticed that.
my whole channel is based off of
Of paranoia.
paranoia and the digital dystopia. But let me tell you, I love the gang stalking conspiracy, and I think we're getting a little premature because I haven't named my number one hated conspiracy yet. But yeah, these people, they're crazy, and you know what? I think you should look into it, Eric, because it is by far the darkest conspiracy.
It's
It's
by far the darkest.
Oh, yeah, could you imagine what it's like to think you're being
Just a
stalked?
minute ago, I called it trivial, and I stand by that.
But could you imagine, like, if you were crazy enough and you thought that when your neighbor walks their dog, that they're hired by the government? That's insanity. I would hate to live that way.
Of course it is, but there are more darker and more dangerous conspiracy theories than that. You yourself have told me that you used to jog in the neighborhood, but you won't do it anymore because all the neighbors are
Watching me.
glowering at you as you run by, and
That's because I used to get out of my car and scream at them like a lunatic. You know, I had anger problems back then. But yeah, absolutely. Gang stalking. We'll get into that. Everybody, before we start, Eric, I am so excited to show you this. But first, I have to find it.
and it's big. It's a lot bigger than gang stalking.
Okay. So, you remember in our old podcast, we would do episode after... We had what were we at? Episode 45?
You mean now?
Well, no, on our old one. There's 50 hours of us podcasting already. What was the one thing we didn't get that we really wanted? Comments.
Viewers.
Somebody left a comment on our last episode about Christianity, and I am so excited. I'm not trying to trash this person. A lot of times on the internet, if you make a video and somebody insults you and then you put them on blast, like I'm doing now.
Blast?
Yeah, somebody insulted me, I'm going to talk about them on the podcast. Somebody named Keith, who I hope is a madman of the Cybersphere Digital Dystopia podcast follower in the future, said, and this is perfect, in this video there's one smart man and one extremely gullible, delusional person who doesn't know how to reason.
Oh boy, that was our comment?
Yes.
Wow.
Who do you think's the delusional one? It was the Christianity versus atheism one.
Boy, that was...
I think it was directed towards me, which is fine. I totally understand people think I'm delusional. But if you reread
Wait a minute, you're talking... Is this a recent... We had a recent podcast about Christianity versus atheism?
And then somebody commented calling me gullible and delusional. And then they said that you're a smart man.
I'm the smart one,
And you know what, Eric? I love this comment because...
I do too.
That's the perfect description of our podcast. There's one smart man.
It's our style.
Delusional. Yes.
Yeah. It's our shtick.
If I wanted a billboard, I would want it to say, one smart man
and one delusional.
So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Keith, I hope you keep watching our podcast. Because you know what? Up next, you and I, Eric, up next, we're going to be the next big... You know what I mean?
The coming thing in podcasting, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I look forward to that.
So let's start, Eric. Let's go ahead right into it. The number one conspiracy that I hate. Can you, real quick? I'll let you try to attempt to guess it one more time. It's a big one.
It's a big one. Well,
It has to do with Trump.
oh,
QAnon.
what? Oh,
I
QAnon.
hate QAnon.
That's right. Well, you did mention that once before, and I must say I was taken somewhat aback by that. I didn't know you. I mean, I know you weren't a QAnoner, but I didn't realize that you took such exception to their program.
What you gotta realize is that conspiracy theories have a community. QAnon is like a middle finger to the real conspiracy community. Because anytime you bring up conspiracies, people go, What? What are you, a flat earther? What are you, QAnon? And it's stupid.
Oh, that must be traumatic.
Exactly. So here, let me just say this, Eric. I've tried so many times to get you into conspiracy theories. I think if you want to get into conspiracy theories properly, look up James Corbett. He is by far the number one most reasonable, well-researched guy. You know what I mean?
I guess, but conspiracy theories is what he deals in. That's his thing, right? The main subject of his podcasts.
Yes.
Well, does he talk about conspiracy theories that he does not believe in?
Oh yeah. He, I'm pretty sure he doesn't believe in, because the funny thing is, I think I got into conspiracy theories in like 2007. I was like in the 11th grade, and it usually revolved around like 9/11.
How precocious.
Yes, I know. I'm an early duckling when it comes to conspiracies. 9/11, New World Order stuff. And then what happened on YouTube was conspiracies began to revolve around celebrities. You know, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Beyonce, Kanye West, Satan worshippers.
Paul McCartney.
And you know what? I think that was intentionally put forth because in the conspiracy theory community, you have to distract people. So anytime a conspiracy theory is related to like pop stars, celebrities, I'm like, this is a big distraction. You know, it's entertaining. You know, because when you see...
Well, it's about celebrities, and anything about celebrities is trivial and frivolous.
Frivolous.
And probably a lie.
Probably. So you've seen the pictures where Beyonce is like this, the triangle?
No,
Who gives a crap?
I've heard that name. I'm not even sure who that is. Not me. I don't give a crap.
I don't give a crap.
So why are we talking about it?
Because this is conspiracies we don't believe.
And don't even respect.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'll give them this. They're entertaining. It's entertaining to watch videos.
Well, they're entertainers. That's
yes.
supposed, yeah.
It is designed to keep your eyes off of the real stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
So.
By whom?
By
whoever wants to distract us, I guess. Yes.
Yeah,
there are so many entities who are up to that old trick. So.
Well, that's the thing. When you look up, I hate to say this, Eric. When you look into QAnon, they have something called the Q map, and it has like the Rothschilds, the Federal Reserve, celebrity. It is this very complex, confusing map as to like, oh, these are the people that are controlling the world.
It's like a flow chart,
yes.
Criminal flow chart, or the
yes,
Uh-huh.
Yes, and the way I look at conspiracies is I don't know who's doing any of this stuff. You know, I'm not sure, and in my opinion, it's like a very complex organism with many factors, many components. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And the hardest part is when you get into conspiracies, it's easy to immediately assume there's one government is doing all of this, but then you watch like mainstream media, oh, the Democrats passed a bill today, you know? And it's like, yeah, you know what? It is kind of like a complex system that involves the Senate and Congress, you know what I mean?
Yes, I think so.
But it is undeniable that in a post-2020 world, you got to admit this, Eric, a lot of weird stuff is going on, right? I mean, come on.
Well, I've always been aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't even know what I'm asking. I just like to look at Eric. Come on, man, wake up, wake up.
No, I am awake to the fact that there's a lot of weird stuff going on. That's hard to miss. But
yeah.
well, I really am very interested in QAnon.
Okay,
So
yes.
you know something about this now. For example, is there supposed to be somebody who's actually at the very top of the QAnon pyramid? Some
Yes.
shadowy figure who's
Yes.
pulling the strings and calling the shots.
That's the big question: is who is the shadow?
Who is
figure?
Q? Yeah.
But so let me for our audience, let me just go through the Q conspiracy. So
Yeah.
if you watch any QAnon documentary, it is made by this like Dutch woman from the Netherlands. That's Dutch, right?
Yeah.
What QAnon is it's a bunch of good information that is like wrapped in mystery, presented neatly packaged in a nice documentary that these Q people believe. They believe that some anonymous person named Q is telling them government secrets because they work for the deep state, right? So
Who works for the deep state?
Q.
Q works for the deep state.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
He's like a mole.
He's like a mole. So it's a bunch of good information that I can't explain. But then you get to the end of the documentary, and it's all about Donald Trump is like he's an insider pretending to be one of them, and he's gonna save us, and it really pisses me off. And a lot of conspiracy theorists in the past year have said the only reason people aren't fighting back against the tyranny that's happening in America is because they think, trust the plan. That's a big QAnon thing. Trust the plan.
There is a
Donald
plan.
Trump coming back. Yep.
Q has a plan.
Q has a
and
plan.
and it's all unfolding exactly as he plans it.
Yes. What do you think?
Are you sure this guy really knows what he's doing?
He doesn't know. None of them
Oh.
know. QAnon's. I hate it. I hate that because that. So have you know about what controlled opposition is, right?
Yeah.
So some king back in the day, some like 18th century king, he said the best way to counter a resistance movement against you, the power, create your own.
Yeah.
So what is QAnon saying right now? They're going, trust the plan. Donald Trump's going to come back and save all of us.
You're not saying that QAnon is actually really is part of the deep state.
Yes. Oh, of course. And I don't believe the deep state, you know.
Well, I mean the liberal opposition to the entire uber conservative Trump Republican establishment.
Yes.
He's working against that.
Controlled opposition, yeah.
Huh.
Because if people
very
wanted,
interesting.
Yeah, so if people wanted to fight back a year ago from all the tyranny happening, they would have been like, they would have fought back. But the conspiracy community, God, who the hell is texting? The conspiracy community is telling all these people, trust the plan, calm down, don't worry, Trump's coming back, he's gonna save you. So can you see why I hate it so much?
That's why you hate it. Now it all makes sense.
And because it's retarded.
Yeah. Well, that too, but
yeah.
oh, well, that is unnerving.
I know. So,
Now, how did you come across this? Is this a theory that many people are familiar with? Is that a widely held suspicion? that QAnon is actually a mole for the
oh yeah
for the Democrats or the deep state?
Anybody that believes in like real conspiracy stuff that we all can just see with our eyeballs is happening right now, they hate QAnon because it's ridiculous. Did you watch that video I sent you? They were saying Donald Trump on one of his whatever you call it, stage performances, was drinking Fiji water and he was sending us a message. You saw that? Well, either way, it's retarded. Donald Trump was drinking Fiji water, so all the Q-tards, but they were like, oh, let's look up Fiji. And then they just take horse shit and they mash it up and say it's QAnon, it's you know what I mean? It's just horse shit over and over. And you know what it has done to the conspiracy community?
Oh my God!
Is everybody
wreaks
hates
havoc.
Yeah.
I bet.
If you believe in any conspiracy, people immediately go, "Oh, what do you believe in, QAnon?" I think you've said that to me. What do you believe? The Earth is flat? There wasn't a Holocaust? We'll get to that later, but.
Well, that's a lot to contemplate. I want to be sure I got this straight. The QAnon is actually ostensibly on the side of Trump and Trump supporters, but they're actually working against them in some secretive and sinister way. They're trying to undermine the whole Trump establishment and undermine all he has achieved.
That's what I would do. And
how do you... do you have any evidence for this?
What, for QAnon?
Yeah, that for what QAnon actually is.
Oh no! You're never gonna have evidence for.
Well, why you sound pretty convinced of this?
I'm not convinced. I am convinced that I think QAnon is a bunch of retards. I'm not convinced.
Well, they certainly seem that way, but they are still. Or last I heard, QAnon was still idolized by for example the January 6th rioters. I remember seeing
protesters.
What? Peaceful protest, the Patriots, whatever. And one guy was actually saying something about, we're just waiting for the word from Q, and we get that word, we go. Has that changed since then?
I mean, if you still believe in QAnon in freaking August of 2021, here's my message. Wake up, retard! It ain't gonna happen. That's my message for him. So I don't have any particular evidence that Q is controlled opposition, but it's very obvious. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just
no right wingers could be that dumb.
Yeah, I believe they could. I think there's a lot.
Well, then why is Q the exception?
They're not the exception. They're retards.
Well, that's what I mean. Exceptions to the pattern that. Oh boy, this is so convoluted.
I know.
Yeah, it's just.
Okay,
I'm trying to imagine that flow chart.
Let me put it this way, Eric. Is that if conspiracy theorists believe that like a small group of wicked individuals run the whole globe, then to think that Donald Trump, one guy, can become president and fight, it's like Luke Skywalker versus the fucking Empire. It's not gonna happen. They will, like, the problem I have with QAnon is that it's like, oh, Donald Trump is secretly going up against the deep state. It's a military coup. No. They don't let one guy become president and then start plotting against them. If you're a true conspiracy theorist like myself, you almost are completely pessimistic and hopeless. Because if world governments could do what they did March of 2020 until now and in the future, you better bet that they are more powerful than any orange-skinned douchebag with a hairpiece that looks like a wig, but I'm uncertain. You know?
Wow. So, Trump became president not because he was elected, but because they let him win this. We're talking about the deep state again, right? Or something very like that.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Very deep
They
state,
engineered Trump's victory in 2016.
I guess.
You guess?
I don't know. It's a retarded conspiracy that we're trashing. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I know.
Sometimes I don't know when you're being straight with me and when you're just having us on.
Well, that's the whole part. That's the whole thing, Eric, is like, our podcast is primarily on YouTube, so even I can't say what I truly believe. I have to tiptoe around every damn conspiracy we talk about, you know? I'm going to try to slow it down, because I'm very yelly today, and jumping from thought to thought. Eric, what you got to remember, you and I are seasoned podcasters.
Seasoned? Well, we're nothing if not seasoned by now, I guess.
Definitely. So we got QAnon out of the way.
Well, not entirely. What
Okay.
Does anybody know what Q means or stands for? It doesn't stand for queer, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think. So have you ever heard of 4chan? It's like an online community where people talk.
Okay.
The essence of 4chan is that, in comparison to Reddit, which is another big online forum, 4chan is very anonymous. So, when you go on 4chan, you see a lot of like racism, you see a lot of Nazis. Because, you know, it's like that old term, keyboard warrior. If you have the privilege of being anonymous, you're gonna say what you really believe.
Hmm.
So a couple years ago, some account named Q was like, Donald Trump is going up against the deep state. He's the one warrior that can fix it for all of us. And this was back in like 2017. So a bunch of people bought into it. And I'm not saying they're bad people. The Q people,
The Q people are not bad people?
they're not bad people. Because they think, and I'm not even saying this is untrue, they think that the world leaders and politicians are eating baby blood to get the adrenochrome, you know?
Okay, well, that's pretty retarded. I was wondering about that, too. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I don't believe it.
You don't believe what? You don't believe that Q believes this, or you don't believe that they worship Satan and eat babies?
I don't believe that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden all go into a little corner of the White House and go, bring out the babies. And then they grab one and break its neck and go, yeah, adrenochrome. You know?
You don't believe?
I don't believe that.
Well, that's a load off my mind.
I don't think that anybody does stuff like that in plain sight, all together in a room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that is an article of faith in the Q community, isn't it? That is one of their principal tenets or beliefs, that this kind of thing is going on.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't human trafficking going on involving children.
Oh, we all know that.
Yes.
There's something going on, all right, but...
And most honest conspiracy people that have critical thinking in their brain,
Mm-hmm.
they think that, yes, this stuff is going on. And you know why? Because if you want to be a politician in America or England, the system that we live in rewards scumbag behavior, psychopathy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Best man wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to win my way to political power. The system that we live in does not reward humble, good, honest people. So I wouldn't be surprised if people like Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, if they're like, oh, we're special people with our suits and our power. Hey, Epstein, get me a couple 9-year-olds, because that's what I'm in the mood for tonight. You know?
Oh boy, now you lost me again. Are you saying that that there are people, including the Bidens, who have sunk to that level of degeneracy?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I don't know. Could be. because we talked about the Finders cult before, and we're already getting into like uncharted, risky territory for this podcast. You know what I mean? It sucks, Eric. Maybe we shouldn't talk about conspiracies after this.
Well, conspiracies are interesting, and
So you get the general gist of the Q conspiracy, right?
well, I guess I do now.
That Donald Trump is the savior and he's fighting the deep state.
That's the line that the Q organization is pushing, whereas in fact what they are doing is trying to discredit Trump and everything he stands for.
Could be. Yeah, because Trump is gone. And not only that...
And you don't think he's coming back?
If Trump does come back, I'm a little worried. You know why? Because Revelations, they talk about one man. Everybody starts believing in one man.
The Antichrist.
Well, here's what's going to happen is the way things are going in America and the globe and UK, everywhere, it's just getting worse, Eric. The economy's going to collapse. It's tyranny. Everything that's happening right now is tyrannical and draconian. So what if they let things get so bad and then Donald Trump swoops in and becomes the Antichrist? Because that's how Hitler came into power, right?
Well, Hitler swooped into power in Nazi Germany because Germany was in an extremely dire state at the time, and the German people were crying for help, for redemption, and Hitler offered him that. He was the demagogue, just like Donald Trump. And there's a history, of demagogues doing that, and a lot of them being quite successful.
Well, you know what's funny about the Hitler situation is the Jews that he killed, they were saints. They did nothing wrong. You know what I mean? They were completely innocent. They had no power. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think so.
They were just completely innocent. They were like little innocent
And that's
babies.
the thing about the Jews. They were completely innocent.
Completely
and
innocent.
Hitler just fucked them over for no...
Yep. Jews never hurt a fly. Never hurt a fly.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but...
You want to get into gang stalking, Eric?
No, I don't want to get into gang stalking.
What?
I'll tell you, no.
Okay, go on.
I'm not interested in gang stalking.
Okay.
I think we've already disposed of that. You know, the last time, you kind of sucker punched me with your claim that we did not land on the moon.
Okay.
No way we went to the moon, you said. I was interested in that. I'm interested in hearing your reasons for thinking that whole thing was a hoax. What do you got?
Here, I'll tell you, Eric. We didn't go to the moon. There's no way. There's no way, Eric.
Well, yes, so you said, but...
Okay, let me just... So I'm unprepared. Had I known, you would bring this up. But let me just... I'm going to go with like the little pocket of information I have in my brain. So did you know when you leave planet Earth, the globe, when you leave in a rocket, there's like a huge vacuum, and then you have to go through the vacuum, and then you just pop out the other end. Did you know that?
Wait a minute. Pop out the other end of the vacuum?
Yes. So like when you leave the Earth, say you're going higher and higher, the altitude, there's like some universal vacuums, that keeps Earth,
Well, it's not I don't know what you're referring to there exactly. Outer space is kind of a vacuum because it's almost devoid of any matter for substantial portions of it. I mean, there are little particles of gases and other things in space. It's not a complete vacuum. But it's whatever is there is so thin. It's a virtual vacuum in some respects.
Right.
This thing that you're talking about that you have to get above, are you sure you're not referring to just the gravitational field of the Earth?
I think that might be it because the description that I heard, if you're leaving the Earth in a rocket, you have to go through this vacuum thing. That would make your rocket go like 1,000 miles per hour, and then you just pop out the other end and go, "Hey, let's go to the moon."
I have no idea what you're referring to there. to get up there, the vessel, whatever it is, has to be fired up there at what they call escape velocity. It has to be going fast enough to punch through the gravitational field and go into orbit or go to the moon or whatever the plan is.
What year did we go to the moon?
1968.
So.
But we didn't go to the moon.
Well, listen. So this is. So, how far is the moon from Earth?
The mean distance is about 240,000 miles.
Okay. So in the 1960s, if you wanted to buy a TV, it was this huge clunky box made of wood with a crappy TV in the middle with antennas, and you only got like 6 channels. That was the technology of 1968. So you're telling me that they had enough radio antenna frequency to broadcast the moon landing? That's 200,000 miles away? And then they just lost the technology. That's what they said.
Lost what technology?
Whatever antenna they used to
broadcast
Neil
those images?
Yeah. Really. So all the crap, the gravity, the, what is the word? Altitude. All that. You think that they broadcasted live from the moon?
Well, Why wouldn't I think that? You're not making yourself very clear here. The technology, you said the technology of 1968 was crappy, and it was certainly crappy by our standards. It was state of the art then, naturally. And you may have noticed that the images that we did get of them frolicking on the moon were very bad. The picture quality was extremely bad, and that's convenient. It may also be accounted for by the fact that the technology back then was so crappy, right?
Eric, I used to have DirecTV, and if it rained and a tree fell onto my antenna, I would lose TV because fucking 30 feet away the antenna broke. So you're telling me that they could broadcast 200,000 miles? If
the whole of the resources of NASA, which was very high tech and very accomplished at that time.
To Hitler?
What?
You know that NASA was connected to the Nazi Party?
No, well, I know that after the war, we appropriated some ex-German scientists, and Werner von Braun, who developed the V2, was our main scientist in the earlier years of the space program. Uh-huh. Is that what you were referring to?
Something like that. I don't know too much about it.
No, you're not making a good case here. Now, I don't know everything about the moon shot. That was a long time ago, and I haven't looked at it since. It was a very big deal at the time, and now nobody can even remember how many moon landings there were. I think there were 3.
Yeah,
certainly 2.
And then did you ever hear that the footage from the moon, they taped over it?
I think I did hear that, and that too was, and then they. I don't know if they were supposed to have done that deliberately for some reason or accidentally, but then I think they tried to restore it, and that's why the tape of the astronauts on the moon is so poor, is of such poor quality.
Poor? That's the poorest excuse I've ever heard.
Well, it may be, or it may be because it was poor, because the videotape had decayed. It had been in a vault for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was broadcast. It's been broadcast a lot, of course, and whoever received it, whatever television stations or networks used it in their rebroadcast, it's in their records now, so they can call it up anytime. You can call it up anytime on YouTube.
So the head of NASA was like, "Oh yeah, sorry guys. America's Funniest Home Videos was on. I accidentally taped over the moon landings. It was a very particularly funny episode. Well, I taped over it. Don't worry. Don't ask questions. I taped over it." That is the poorest excuse I've ever heard. And that is the kind of thing that makes lunatics like me start to research stuff. Okay, here's another one. So I got, what have I tried? Okay, they taped over it. They broadcast it from 200,000 miles away. Number 3. So, see my fist? It's
Mhm.
the Earth.
It's hard to miss.
So, the Earth is moving around the sun, right?
Yeah.
So, while the Earth moves around the sun, isn't the Earth just like floating through space? Psst. You know, that's what I heard. Is that true?
Earth, what? The Earth is floating through space?
Yeah, so we're on a spinning space ball that's
We're-
just floating through the universe, right?
Well,
Or are we still?
No. The whole solar system is moving around the center of the galaxy.
Okay.
All of the stars and whatever planetary systems exist are rotating around the galaxy, the center of the galaxy.
How fast is the Earth moving right now? Is it like 1,000 miles per hour?
Around the sun?
Yes.
I don't know offhand.
I think it's either 1,000 miles per hour or
Oh,
6,000.
it's more than 1,000.
60,000. It's something like that.
Yeah.
So the Earth is moving, and then the sun. Or no, the sun is going around it, right? I don't know. I'm confused.
The sun is not going around the Earth.
Okay, so,
That was,
so the Earth is going around
they
the
used
sun.
to think that many centuries ago.
So this is the Earth. It's going around the sun.
Yeah.
60,000 miles per hour.
Now you got it.
So we're gonna rocket away from the Earth, go to the moon, while the Earth is still moving, and we're still gonna know how to go back. And by the way, if a rocket comes back, what did it just go? All right, guys, let's turn around. And then how the hell did they get out of the rocket?
How do they get out of the rocket?
Yeah.
They don't get out of the rocket. They're in a capsule. When they come back, I don't know either in detail how that worked. After they took off, when they were done on the moon, they took off in this landing vehicle, and then they reconnected with the mothership that was circling. Two astronauts got out and walked on the moon. One was still aboard the spacecraft.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what kind of a trajectory he was following, but they shot back up when they were done. They reconnected with the mothership, if that's what it's called, and then they returned to Earth, and they were in a capsule. The capsule was separated from the spacecraft and parachuted into the ocean.
Okay.
No, what is your point there?
So
That just seems so preposterous.
the big NASA rocket, you know what I mean? It's like big. It's like
Yeah.
triangle shape. It
What?
shoots up. Whatever. It's like a big thing.
A big thing.
Goes
yeah.
up.
Uh-huh.
Then they get off. They walk around. They smell the roses, essentially. Then do they get back in the big pointy rocket and it goes down?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. That was.
Knows this.
Well, somebody knows.
They know the dumb NASA explanation.
Well, there are detailed presentations that you can bring up, I'm sure, on YouTube that will go over that in any level of detail.
They won't, though, Eric.
They won't.
They won't go into deep detail about any of the stuff people have questions about.
What makes you think that?
Because their poor excuse of taping over the damn landing, that is enough to make me go,
This is insane.
Eric,
let me
so
suggest to you
didn't
something.
make my point.
We were much better at doing things, that sort of thing back. It was a huge risk, obviously, a very expensive risk, but people there knew what they were doing, and there were as many as, I think, like a total of 400,000 people who were working on that project, on the moon landing at that time. And by the way, if this was a hoax, you would have to get all 400,000 of the people involved in it to sign on to the hoax and agree to perform their part. Why not?
Most conspiracies, this is a big problem with people that don't believe conspiracies. They have this philosophy. Too many people can't keep a secret. But that's not true. Most of the people involved in conspiracy theories, they don't know what's happening. These 400,000 people you said, they could have lied. Who are these people?
Out of 400,000 people, somebody is going to shoot their mouth off at some time or other.
You know who shot their mouth off?
Well,
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, I know about Buzz Aldrin. And Buzz Aldrin, and he didn't shoot his mouth off. I saw he punched out a newsman who was being. You saw that, yeah.
Love that.
Okay, it was Gus Grissom who was shooting his mouth off.
Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me!
You're a coward and a liar and a thief and a thief and a thief and a thief.
He had this. He was, according to this presentation. Yeah, I saw the same one. He allegedly had some problems and some issues with the program. He didn't think he thought they were rushing it, which they probably were, because they were in a fever to get this done and get ahead of the Russians. That's what it was basically about. Damn Russians. And they, according to the conspiracy theorists, they were willing to go to the length of killing Gus Grissom and 2 completely innocent astronauts with him when they were sitting in this capsule atop the rocket. It all of a sudden it caught fire for some reason. I forget the reason, and they all burned to death. And the conspiracists say that the government or some very high-ranking people in NASA did this to silence Gus Grissom. Do you believe that?
You know what? I haven't heard about that, but I think it's either Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong. They were being interviewed by and this little girl walked up and said, "Buzz Aldrin, why haven't you gone to the moon a second time?" And he went, "Honey, we haven't gone to the moon a second time because we didn't
do it the first
time." He said that!
Wait, where did you see this?
Online, but it was a real video. Buzz Aldrin, he looked very perplexed. "Little girl, I don't want to lie to you any longer." You know?
Why would he keep that secret in all that time and then spill his guts to a little girl?
I'm pretty sure after he faked the moon landing, his whole life was probably just freaking money, prospects, and blowjobs for all eternity until he died, an old lonely man who lied to the world about going to the moon. You know? Imagine being a dude in the 60s and the government comes up to you. They're like, "Hey man, we're going to lie about going to the moon. You want to participate?" No, no, I don't think so. How about endless blowjobs and money and fame? Oh, I'll do it. You know? That's what probably happened. His name was probably Clark Aldrin, and they're like, it would sound better if we called you Buzz. Okay, Buzz Aldrin. You know? Eric, okay, here's my last
one. My God,
because this has become a segment.
Yes, it has.
So, the Earth is moving... No, wait. The sun is moving around the Earth?
No, the Earth is moving around the sun.
So, the Earth is moving around the sun, 60,000 miles per hour. A rocket goes off. How did they know to come back and where to land?
That is all pretty complicated, actually, in fact, because the whole system, the whole Earth-Moon system is revolving around the sun. The moon is revolving around the Earth. And there's a lot of very complicated mathematics that goes into the planning of a shot like that, because they have to compensate for all that. But they're old hands at that. They're going to do the same thing if they ever decide to go to Mars. That's going to be a lot more complicated. Right. And the mathematics is going to be, the trajectories are going to be a lot more complicated. But what makes they have that capability.
I don't know.
They can figure that out.
You know what, Eric? The whole thing about the moon is it is freaking dampened in controversy. The fact that they said that we taped over it, the fact that everybody became very tight-lipped after the conspiracy theories started, very suspicious. The fact that we may not have gone to the moon is my least favorite conspiracy theory. Because once you start talking about, people think you're crazy, you know? They're like, oh...
Well, you must be used to that by now.
Well, I think that a lot of the stuff happening right now in 2021, I think your average Joe is like, wait a minute, this might be a conspiracy, you know? It's very obvious what's happening. But with the moon landing, you sound like a quack, like a nut job.
That's what you sound like to me, pal.
But I don't know that much detail.
No, I don't either. You know, this is kind
Okay.
of I didn't plan to bring this up. Well, I did really, because you really left me hanging with that when you said that last week. I don't know why I was so surprised, because you know, you're an inveterate natural conspiracy
I've
buff.
never been into that one that much because I didn't know why. But you know what the explanation is for why they would fake the moon landing? It's because
Yeah.
of the flat Earth.
Wait,
and
David, back up.
Okay.
That the reason why they would fake the moon landing is because of the flat Earth.
Yes, like
Because the Earth is in fact flat.
that's what people think.
Well, you warmed to that theory a little while ago, didn't you?
I told you that I don't know, but I like the theory. I'm getting into it.
Because it's a conspiracy theory, because it goes against the grain.
Well, because my friend is really into it, and I trust his opinion because he's pretty smart.
You trust your friend.
Yeah, but he believes in the same crap I do, and to me, I don't know. I don't know if the Earth is flat, Eric. I don't know, but
But it could be.
I used to say, why would they lie about the moon? Why? Why would they lie? And now it's like, oh, maybe it's because flat. I don't know.
Well, maybe you should know a little more before you make charges like that. It's especially on this could really tarnish our reputation with all our.
Eric,
Look,
my reputation is already gone. My reputation.
Yes, I know. I mean, sort
Yeah.
of being a little facetious there, but okay. Why would they
Eric.
lie about going to the moon? Well, the main reason we went to the moon, if we did anyway, was basically because we were terrified that the Russians were getting so far ahead of us, and we had lost the initiative. We were
That
losing
alone.
the space race.
That is
Yes, that's
such a
right, and
retarded reason.
that is and for that reason that they were rushing it a bit, and maybe they were rushing it, so to speak. Maybe they were being a little reckless about it, but they seemed, as far as I'm concerned, they made it work.
They were like,
And
let's go to the moon. I want to see if we can go. Oh wait, we can't. That's what they said. Was that a good Russian accent?
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Let's
didn't
go.
recognize that as a Russian accent, but
Let's go to the moon. That's pretty good.
yeah.
But go on, Eric.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. Do you want to?
Well,
end this
obviously,
segment?
yeah, I
Okay.
guess. Obviously, I should have come better prepared
I should have too.
for this material, but but
Okay.
you say this is your least favorite. Why is it your least favorite conspiracy?
Wait. Well, no.
You
I
did say
said that.
something
I
to
did
that
say that.
effect.
I think it's because you look really crazy when you say we didn't go to the moon. It's one of those very tin hat,
You sound crazy every time you talk
Eric,
about a
I don't think
conspiracy.
so. I think
Well,
in a
I mean, you
post-2020 world,
okay? You look crazy every time you talk about conspiracies.
Eric, look outside. Look outside. What's going on in the world right now? It's insane. Come on, Eric. I know a little part of you believes me.
Look outside. The world is going insane. Therefore, we didn't go to the moon.
No, it has nothing to do with the moon. In 2019, we had basic freedoms and human rights. 2020, it went out the window. And I don't see how you can't see that. Come on, Eric. Like, come on. There are some things that are true.
It went out the window when Trump, once Trump was defeated in his run for the presidency.
No, it has nothing to do with Trump. We can't go into stores without wearing a particular thing.
Why did you say 2020?
Because that's when the New World Order started.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, we're in the New World Order, man.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
If
What did that involve?
If I could go into a time machine and talk to my 2019 self, I'd be like, Brandon, please, man. I don't know what to tell you. It sucks. It's gonna suck in a year, bro. It's gonna suck. You're not gonna have any freedoms, and everybody is gonna start being censored from the internet, and then they're going to mandate everything, and then the government will be our mommy and daddy, and then we're not going to be able to leave our house, and businesses will be shutting down, and people will start arresting people for Facebook posts. It's like, what? I don't see how you don't think this is a damn conspiracy.
Well, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of conspiracies afoot that out there. Most of them are just, conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of clowns trying to pull over some scam of some kind, and they're not very adept at it.
Right.
I don't believe, to get back to the moon thing for a minute, I don't believe that there were the level of deception involved in something like a moonshot, a global event like that, this event of global significance, and such a giant leap for mankind, upon which so much attention was focused around the world. You got a long way to go there to demonstrate that really could have didn't happen.
A giant leap for mankind.
A giant leap for whatever.
You know what he should have said? A giant stretch for mankind, because this sure is a stretch.
Okay, Val.
So we got into the moon theory. Okay, so real quick, you want to know how you pull off a conspiracy? Because the number one reason people don't believe in conspiracies is because they think, how can so many people keep in a lie, But you want to know how you do it? It's called the ring theory. It's kind of like a corporation, Like, the bottom doesn't know what the middle is doing, the middle doesn't know what the top is doing, the top doesn't know what the elites are doing. Like, a lot of agencies in the world, they don't really know what others are doing. You know what I mean? It's confusing.
Well,
think of law enforcement agencies, the FBI, the DEA. You know what I mean? What were you going to say?
I guess I was going to have to go back to the moonshot. If there were, I mentioned, I don't remember where I came across this information, but there were supposedly about 400,000 people involved in that project. I don't believe that anybody could have pulled something like that off without somebody spilling his guts sooner or later, talking too much at a party.
And I
you said Buzz Aldrin did spill his guts to this little girl.
Yes.
I'd be interested in seeing that
I'll
tape.
show you it. I'll send it to you.
All right.
And I don't believe, speaking of what you don't believe, I don't believe that you can go to the moon and then tape over it with an episode of America's Funniest Home Videos featuring Bob Saget. Is that what they did?
Well, I don't know. Is that what you say they did? They said they did?
Taped over it. They were like,
all right, well,
they were like, sorry, bro, we taped over it.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna have to look that one up too.
Okay. Eric, you want to step out for a smoke with me? We'll take a
all
break.
right.
Okay, sorry, man. He's upstairs in the bathroom. He had to take a piss. I piss into this Folgers jug. It's very heavy, you can tell. It smells like piss. I tried to pump myself up with some music.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that song.
Well, I must ask again, why that song?
I think
it's it's widely considered a joke. It's such a silly.
That's like music. That's like a symphony in my brain.
Really?
That is the catchiest. Because one of them goes, hey la, and I'm obsessed with vocal melodies. So one of them goes, hey la, and the other one goes, hey la. That is perfect to me. Eric, do you sing, by the way?
I used to.
Really?
Yeah, I used to love to sing.
You know what we should do? We should cover some
No.
songs. Come on, why not?
We should what?
Cover some songs.
Cover some. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were
know
gonna.
what we should
I thought you were gonna say we should sing some songs.
Well, in the future. But, I should play guitar, and you should sing, some Frank Sinatra. Because you got that syrupy golden voice.
Well, it doesn't work as well as it used to, like so many other things. I can assure you.
Maybe you could do, a William Shatner thing. He used to talk the lyrics.
Oh.
My friend.
Yeah,
I had a few, but too few to mention.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be able to manage that, but
Who did you
I don't
like
know.
back in the day? Who was your favorite band, singers, artists?
Oh God, you know,
I know you liked
not.
Bobby Darin. Didn't you?
What made you?
Because
Why would you think that?
Because when you and I met each other, one of the first things we talked about was Bobby Darin.
We did?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it could have been because I was a Bobby Darin fan.
I don't know.
I think it was. Didn't it have something to do with him screwing up on the Tonight Show, or he forgot the lyrics to a song halfway through it?
Could have been.
That's as far as I would go with. But that was the most interesting thing I knew of about Bobby Darin.
Who's your favorite musician? Number one
in,
favorite
in
all time.
in popular music.
Because Eric, okay, let me fill you guys in. Eric, I've always got this sense is that when I talk about like the Rolling Stones, that you're like, oh yeah, that's modern pop music. So you're more of a classical guy, Bach, Beethoven, Liszt.
I like a lot of classical music. I've listened to a lot of it, and I would say that based on what I've heard, probably only about 30% of it is worth listening to.
What, pop or classical?
No, classical.
Okay.
But that 30%, there is some great stuff in that 30%.
So you can differentiate between what's good and bad, because to me it's all just.
Well,
You
you mean in classical music?
Yeah. Like
All right.
Beethoven's pretty cool.
Yeah, Beethoven has, I think, 4 or 5 great pieces. I mean, he was prolific. He did a lot of stuff. Most of it is almost unlistenable to me.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff that I consider great classical music. You ought to have a look at it.
Cool.
Yeah, there's some great stuff in it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do believe Lucifer is the prince of the airwaves. You know, he's the one. You know, Lucifer.
Yeah.
Lucifer.
Right. Well.
Anyway, Eric, so let's go into human cloning. Do you think it's possible? Because we did clone a sheep. Do you think it's possible to clone a dude?
Why wouldn't it be?
That's
I don't.
the question.
I mean, the question. I assume what you're asking is it possible now?
Yes.
Oh, I think it is, but there's very widespread feeling against that, and I'm not really clear on why.
Ethically.
Yeah, it's considered a serious ethical problem, and
I guess because they could clone a dude and then harvest his organs.
well, yes, if you can clone people, there are all kinds of very sinister purposes you can put that capability to. And that's a part of it, certainly. But they also, I think a lot of it is just sort of religiously motivated. A lot of people have this instinctive revulsion against something like that because you're playing God.
Oh, yeah.
And you're creating something that should have a soul. But does it? Will it have a soul if you clone a human being?
That's exactly why I think
Very touchy theological question there.
Well, we're approaching Revelations, so I think the more man plays God, trust the science, the more man tries to control the weather and cloning and people, I think God is like, whoa, slow down.
Hey, enough is enough. It's like the Tower of Babel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
And you know what he does? When a bunch of government agents start cloning people, he's like, all right, you can do that? I'm going to set California on fire.
Everything, trees, cars, homes, and more homes in flames.
Well, that would be kind of a strange thing for him to do, don't you think? I mean, somebody, in response to what did you say?
Cloning people.
Cloning people.
Playing God.
Well, I guess if cloning is going to happen in this country, I guess it could happen in California.
Yeah.
But there are all kinds of genetic engineering companies in Silicon Valley where I used to live.
Yeah, they're pissing off God.
Pissing off God. Well.
So, by the way, I think California, sometimes you need a little fire in your state,
Well, you don't need fire.
Clear out all the liberals.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm with you there, obviously.
Okay. So anyway, there's a conspiracy that the government is cloning Britney Spears and celebrities, and that, well, I will give you this, is that if you listen to like Britney Spears songs and like pop music albums, there is a lot of like weird reference to being slaves and clones to the music industry, you know?
There's a lot of references to that in
pop music. So like Britney Spears, like if you look at one of her album covers, she's like in a jail cage, you know, like, or she's like a slave. Or if you watch an Eminem music video, he's hooked up to machines like he's not a real person. So a lot of people have taken this theory and said that the government is cloning pop stars. And I think it's stupid, you know? It's stupid. And we already talked about this. Anytime a conspiracy revolves around Eminem, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, all these dumb celebrities, I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I don't care either. We all have our prejudices, and one of mine is celebrities.
So that's just one. So on my recording app, I don't know how it doesn't tell me how long we've been going. You want to wrap it up soon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think we're out of steam. So we got into the moon landing, cloning a little bit.
Not as deeply as we should have. Maybe it might be worth our while to research, both of us, to research what we were talking about and come back and talk a little more knowledgeably about it.
Yes.
Neither one of us were prepared for that discussion, and that is a very complicated discussion.
I was prepared, but I didn't look at my notes this whole episode. I just kind of ranted.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do that, though, you know?
Well, you should be able to do that if you're a serious podcaster.
I think, though, Eric, you and I pulled it off.
Well, okay, if you say so. I trust your judgment. I guess we'll see. By the way, I haven't even attempted to look us up in a long time and bring up one of our episodes. How do I do that?
Okay, so type in the Digital Dystopia podcast. Yeah, Eric's being hush-lipped.
Well, then maybe
because I don't want people to know my channel.
Okay, well then we'll...
But don't worry. I'll email you. I'll get you.
Yeah, all right.
All right, fellas.
Well,
here's a good question. Who are we?
Yeah, I don't know. Give me, what did we ever decide on our moniker?
We are the
madmen of the cybersphere. So that's
of
the digital dystopia
podcast. Pretty good name.
That's a mouthful. If we attempt to, will that even fit on the?
I have to. I might just write
in the
DDP,
subject line or what?
DDP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
All right.
Like I said, Eric, I think he now believes every conspiracy that I believe. I think.
How could I have been so blind?
See you guys.